Yo, what's going on, guys? Been a little minute, haven't been uploading, but we got one out here for you today. Gonna go over the one trade I took. Took a trade on the NASDAQ. Took a little break, just relaxing a little bit. Let my mind chill out after the past couple weeks. Really taking a step back from the charts, looking at it from a third person perspective and looking down and seeing what I was doing wrong, looking what I was doing right, and then continuing to focus on what I was doing right. So my main focus today was staying on the 5 minute and targeting high draws on liquidity. That's what my main focus is on right now. And then not also pushing and forcing trades that I don't need to be taking. And if you guys are struggling with your consistency, if you're trading too much, that is a great thing to do. Not trade as much. Look for A+ trades, even if it's just an A trade or A- trade. You don't want to be taking it. You want to look for A+ setups. You don't want to be looking for non-optimal setups. You want to be looking for the most optimal setups possible. And that's my main focus. Yesterday, I took a paper trade and I ended up losing because it wasn't an optimal setup. It wasn't great conditions, and I still took it, which ended up losing because it wasn't very optimal. So today, my main focus was staying on the paper trading account, waiting for the 5 minute to do its thing, and then seeing what the price wanted to do. Not necessarily forcing my trade during the macro, but just being patient. And I'll go over my trade that I took, show you what I took, how I took it. All right, hopping into the charts, we'll go to the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, yesterday we had a little buy up and then a sell off, right? And then this was my target. My targets for today were this buy side liquidity in these two New York and London highs that were made yesterday, and then New York lows that was made yesterday. And then we also created an SMT with London lows and then Asian lows, as you can see here on ES. We created an SMT on Asian and London lows. So what I expected some bullish price action off of market open. And pre-market, we got that bullish price action up until these buy-side liquidities. We got bullish price action up, pushed into this buy-side liquidity level, and also took out these London highs right here. And what was I waiting for? This was later on to market open. What was I waiting for? I was waiting for a 5 minute break of structure, or until we started seeing a market shift on the 1 minute. And price was chopping above these highs for a little bit, so I was like, all right, price is slowing down. We're getting a little bit less buying pressure on this 5 minute time frame. So I waited, went down into the 1 minute. What do we see on the 1 minute? We see another internal manipulation leg right here. Takes out these highs. For the early sellers, takes them all out right here as we consolidate. And then we disrespect a 1 minute fair value gap here, create a 1 minute fair value gap. Now, we never broke initial structure on this 1 minute here, but since we disrespected this fair value gap, I counted that technically as a break of structure because we're changing market structure because there's a lot of buy orders and a gap here that pricing to balance out. And we balance it out, but then the balance turned into an imbalance, as you can see here. And we came up, respected this bearish imbalance, entered off of this candle close here, stops above these highs. TP1 were these lows here made right off of market open that created this buying pressure all the way up until these buy-side liquidity level. And then TP2 was the start of this 15 minute fair value gap, and also pre-market, market open level, like equilibrium you can call it. And I put my TP2 there. TP3 were London lows. I took off majority of my position. I only had 5 contracts on. I put 5 micros on this trade. I took it on my top step. Put 5 micros on this trade. Took off 3 here. Took off 1 here. So we only have 1 more extra, which is good risk in my part, because if we want to keep going higher for the day, this would be a good level to balance out price and then continue higher to take out these higher time frame highs. these New York highs and London highs that we took yesterday, which would have been in my bias, as we can see. So this is a good risked trade, a good quality trade. I wasn't shooting for the stars. And if we want to continue lower, we'll go take out these London lows, but I have my stops at break even, so I'm pretty much set for the day. Whatever happens, happens. We have a 5 minute for value gap. And if I were strictly sticking to the 5 minute, I would want to wait and see this. So we have this protecting our stop loss yet. And these lows, final TP. I'll set a reminder. I'm not going to wait because it's going to be a while, I'm assuming. And we'll wait and see what happens for the rest of the day. All right, and this is my daily P&L for the day, my Top Step account. Here's my executions. Entered off this candle close here, as you can see, off that fair value gap. Took one position off once we hit these lows, or 3 off once we hit these lows, 1 when we hit these lows, and then we have our final TP, those London lows, and move my stops to break even. And we are total day P&L 857, and we will continue to see what happens with the rest of this trade. I'll keep you guys updated. All right, I'm back. It's the next day. It's Wednesday, April 16th, and the market moved last night, and I'll show you all what happened with my trade. So as you can see here, this is where I entered, TP1, TP2, and then price chopped up for a little bit. I ended up getting stopped out right here, right when price went back up, right near my entry. Stopped me out because my stops were at break even. And then we chopped for the rest of the day, and we came low, down to London lows, and we ended up taking them out. That means my bias was correct for the day. And overall, that was a great trade, and I'm happy with how I executed it. I hope you guys learned something. And don't trade today. Why? Because Federal Chairman Powell speaks. He's speaking today at 12:30. And you don't want to be trading when he is speaking. I'll tell you what. Just don't trade when he speaks. But I'll be watching the markets, see what happens. I have my charts marked out here. See, we got London highs here. I'll get rid of this. We got London highs here. We got this little set of buy side liquidity along with all up here, this low resistant liquidity. But my main target for today is London lows and Asian lows because they're pretty much stacked liquidity. And then the same with the S&P 500. They're pretty much stacked on top of each other. So that's a high draw on liquidity. And we're within the discount of this range. Could just be a manipulation leg down to fill out this imbalance here to continue higher, to either take out London highs or these low resistant liquidity here and then continue lower, because on the 4 hour we are pretty bearish. As you can see here, we are getting bearish. We're respecting this 4 hour for value gap here. Leads me to believe that we want to continue lower, targeting these lows and up until maybe even these lows down here, maybe this next couple of days by the end of the week. See how this weekly candle will close, since we had a little bit of a retracement last week, a little bit of a up close candle, which is good for the markets if you're an investor. But took out these lows, and these lows could be a potential sweep, and then we have a little reversal coming in these next couple of weeks and months. See what we can get. But right now, market's just cooling off, chopping a little bit. Kind of hard price action to trade, being honest, just because of the chop. And if you're not very experienced, you won't know when not to trade or when to trade, because there'll be so many different setups you see. As long as you stick to your setup, you'll be perfectly fine, and be patient. So days like today, just don't trade, especially with high impact news and also unfavorable market conditions. Yesterday was a good trade. I'm glad I secured that. And today I'm just going to preserve capital and not trade. I hope you guys learned something. Love and appreciate you guys. Peace out. See you next time.